I believe deeply that Julian Assange believes in the principles of using the internet to promote open government and to let the public know more about what's going on in their political system. I believe in these principles as well, but I think where myself and Julian Assange differ, besides the fact that he actually has the gumption to execute on this, is and it seems like a majority of internet people also believe that some type of limitations to what is going to be dumped into the public or just mass dumped has to be agreed in a democratic society to what social philosophers often call the institutional or constitutional framework in which a democratic society opens up. If you just, freedom of speech is not the endless dumping of information. Also, there is a lot to be said about the respecting of privacy. And in any dumping of information, there's always the issue of privacy and freedom of information. And like it or not, in order for any systems of trust to function properly, a degree of privacy has to be enabled. If Julian Assange started dumping data about our email transactions, just ordinary people, randoms, emails, transactions, credit card transactions, statements about their employers and stuff like that, this would fundamentally affect the communication on the internet between people, and people wouldn't like it. They would be very pissed off. Um, The first two dumps, I think, were very justified. The one on the Afghan war and the one on Iraq war both confirmed things that most of us had already suspected, that these wars were not going. Well, the Iraq war had been an utter failure. The Afghan war was going poorly and had to be rethought. And the public of internet users were willing to support these in this because they fell into a tradition like the Pentagon Papers of leaked information that really kind of enlightens a public, strengthens them in their conviction that are already emerging, and helps the democratic process solidify. This third dump has been bizarre. It's been truly bizarre. It's full of just a lot of gossip, salacious comments about people, facts here, facts there, but most of what I've found is just prowling over it for gossip about people. And to be honest, most of it's just banal. I think a lot of people have turned against it because they've been a bit disappointed by the content of this third dump and its lack of any kind of substance other than things we already knew. And also, it's kind of the easy way you could see that potentially the United States or Israel or certain opponents of Iran and Russia were playing the dump and might have actually been playing this mole that they had in Iraq and thus playing WikiLeaks by feeding them information that they wanted in this dump. There isn't really anything in this particular dump that makes Obama look bad. I will notice that. There's no criticism of Obama. The criticisms that have been played through really encourage and actually strengthen American strategy and make a strong case for the attack on Iran, and they're very, very critical of Russia. And it's very possible that the CIA became aware of this mole in Iraq, and before picking him up, passed through documents from all over the world, particularly that strengthen their case. Documents that show China being critical of North Korea, documents that showed the Arabs being critical of Iran, and documents that showed the American position on certain leaders, throwing them in their place. The document is very critical of the European leaders, and I know that the American government, particularly in Afghanistan, seems to be fairly exasperated with the Europeans, and Obama is not really a Europhile in the way previous presidents are. He certainly doesn't have the strong affections towards England that George W. Bush had, and for the good of both countries, I think. um, that so what has been the unintended consequences, what's really disturbing here, is this dump is all bizarre. It's very easy to imagine that there have been alternative motives behind it. It's launched a lot of conspiracy theories. There's a lot of exposed facts there about of the U.S. government, but there is no clarity about how the information is gathered, how the information is processed, how the information is vetted. That's what's kind of disturbing about it. It proposes to be open, but then says it has to be closed. And Assange even contradicts himself. Everything about WikiLeaks is secret. It all has to be secret and hidden and hiding to protect its ability to be open. And Assange had a very, very evangelical and unique sense of openness that saw himself in WikiLeaks as the proponent and evangelists of openness, and in so they needed privacy, they needed secrecy. They were the ones that were entitled to be secret. They were the ones that were entitled to be private. What I think he's done in this, he's just simply given the governments in the world, definitely the government, Russia, Italy, potentially Germany, well, China didn't need an excuse, but definitely much, and probably also in the United States as well, with the Republicans coming in, both parties are going to be stumbling over each other in trying to pass legislation to prevent another WikiLeaks. And the only way to prevent another WikiLeaks is to fundamentally increase the amount of control and surveillance that governments have. By doing this, the unintended consequence that Assange has had is that the level of government control and surveillance of the internet will go up, and the public will accept this more. And in a way, Assange will be the bin Laden of the internet. He will be the face that will be used by politicians, particularly in the West, to pass through draconian measures of control, to start closing down servers, to start freezing money, to start arresting people, and to bring down this beyond WikiLeaks. This is going to go very, very much beyond WikiLeaks. And by this little stunt, of which nobody really learned anything, it was just a publicity stunt that sort of occupied the media, mainstream media, and got this vain asshole Assange on the news quite a bit. The consequences of his unthinking, self-aggrandizing little baby spat here, and more I think about this, the more I'm getting mad at this guy, is that we are going to have a far, far less free internet.